Speaker. In Carrum Downs today, petrol hit 193.9 cents a litre. 193.9 cents a litre. The median rent in Frankston has gone up $1,560 in the last year. $1,560 in the last year. In the last 12 months, childcare fees have gone up by $390. But yet, real wages fell 0.8% over the past year. Petrol is more expensive, childcare is more expensive, rent is more expensive. Buying a house is just almost inconceivable for so many people in my electorate. The price of housing has gone up so much, and real wages have gone backwards. But yet we have a Morrison government that wants people to believe that they've never had it better. When you actually talk to the people that we represent, you know that those lines, that spin, just isn't true. Working families in my electorate are struggling under the weight of increased living costs and flatlining wages. The average Australian is over $700 a year worse off in the last year alone, compared to if wages had grown at the same 3% rate as inflation. Over $700 a year worse off. The average family is paying about $900 a year more for their petrol. And childcare fees have gone up by $390 a year. You add all that together, that's a significant burden on families who are struggling, particularly are struggling as they're coming out of the pandemic. Research from the McKell Institute shows that the average Australian worker would be earning $254 more each week if wage growth had continued at the rate achieved under the last Labor government. That's $13,000 a year for families already doing it tough. And that would be before the same job, same pay policy that the Leader of the Opposition has announced that we will take to an election, which would mean that people doing the same job, working side by side, would get paid the same amount. We know that in Australia today there's almost 2 million people who are looking for either more work or just looking for work. We have one of the highest rates of insecure work in the OECD. And we've fallen under the Morrison government from 6th in the OECD for wages to 21st. We've fallen from 8th, according to the OECD, in economic growth to 17th in the world under the Morrison government. The millions of workers in Australia are in some form of non-standard, insecure working arrangement. 2.3 million casuals, over 1 million so-called independent contractors, many of which are people forced to get an ABN so they can be an Uber driver or a Deliveroo driver or a cleaner or a security guard or someone who traditionally would have been employed to do the job, but are now apparently their own small business without any of the protections of employment. And there's 400,000 people on fixed-term contracts. Insecure work and the fractured labour market and stagnant wages mean that people in my electorate are struggling to make ends meet. And when you add to that the increased pressure of increased childcare fees, increased cost of food, increased petrol, you know that the Morrison government is failing people. And when the Prime Minister says petrol will go up under Labor, extraordinary. He should look at what's happening under him.